April 18, 1889, Indianan Republican, Warsaw, Indiana. How celluloid is manufactured. While everybody has heard of or seen or used celluloid, only a few know what it is composed of or how it is made. The following is a description of the progress carried out in a factory near Paris for the production of celluloid. A roll of paper is slowly unwound and at the same time saturated with a mixture of 5 parts of sulfuric acid and 2 parts of nitric acid, which falls upon the paper in a fine spray. This changes the cellulose of the paper into propylene gun cotton. The excess of the acid having been expelled by pressure, the paper is washed with plenty of water until all traces of acid have been removed. It is then reduced to a pulp and passes to the bleaching trough, most of the water having been gotten rid of by means of a strainer, and the pulp is mixed with from 20 to 40% of its weight in camphor, and the mixture thoroughly triturated under millstones. The necessary coloring having been added in the form of powder, a second mixing and grinding follows. The finely divided pulp is then spread out in thin layers on slabs, and from 20 to 25 of these layers are placed in a hydraulic press, separated from one another by some sheets of thick blotting paper, and are subjected to a pressure of 150 atmospheres until all traces of moisture have been got rid of. The matter is then passed between 140 degrees and 150 degrees Fahrenheit, whence it issues in the form of elastic sheets. August 28, 1911, the Eugene Daily Guard, Eugene, Oregon. 25 killed in frantic rush. Explosion of motion picture film results in wild panic in Pittsburgh theater. Pittsburgh, August 26. 25 persons are known to be dead and a large number injured, following an explosion of a moving picture film in the Morgan and Grant Opera House at Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, 20 miles from here tonight. As the film exploded, someone called fire. The house was crowded with women and children. All rushed to the hall leading to the stairway and were hemmed in on the stairs. Few thought to use the fire escapes. Many were knocked down and trampled upon. Most of the dead were smothered in the mass of persons who fought for egress to the street. A writhing, screaming mass of humanity, 10 feet high, was jammed in the narrow stairway leading to the entrance to the theater. When the volunteer fire department arrived, those of the audience who had escaped from the building and other persons drawn to the scene were rushing about ineffectively. No one was making an effort to aid the struggling mass within the theater. Firemen pushed into the building and threw many into the street. As the ejected ones regained their feet, they ran about shrieking in terror. When the firemen got nearer to the bottom of the pile, they found the injured and later came to the dead. Within a few minutes after the film flashed, the fire whistles were blown. The entire population responded and packed the narrow street into which the fatal theater opens. All apparently were terror-stricken and gave little aid. Many of the dead were unidentified. John McCullough, operator of the moving picture machine, fought the flames in his asbestos cabinet when the film flashed. For several moments, the audience, about 1,500, was not aware of the accident, as the operator heroically extinguished the fire. Then the scorched and suffocating McCullough opened the door of the cabinet, and the smoke poured out. The cry of fire was raised, and the rush began. Fleeing women and children ran into persons waiting admission. Instantly, the stairway was packed by the frantic persons. One woman threw her infant from a window 50 feet from the ground. J.W. Reese caught the child in his arms, unharmed, but as yet it has not yet been claimed by the mother. Entrance to the theater is through a narrow vestibule and up a narrow stairway of 50 steps leading directly into the theater, which is owned by J.P. Morgan of Canonsburg. Miss Mary Craig, the pianist, began playing a slow march when the panic began. She played the selection over and over, never faltering. Many caught the swing of the music and tried to hold back the crowd. When the audience had left the building, Miss Craig departed, uninjured. February 28, 1914. The Spokesman Review, Spokane, Washington. Mayor likes Brainy pictures. Fears for movie popularity unless better authors develop. Mayor Hindley, city censor, says that he is a friend of the movie shows, but asserts that if they are to retain their present great favor, the film manufacturers must spend more money for brains in the manufacture of plots, even if it becomes necessary to stint the appropriation for mechanical efficiency. The mayor thinks the mechanical and studio work employed in the production of moving pictures has far outstripped the brain work retained to create the dramas depicted on the screen. Some of the motion picture dramas are educational and entertaining, but many have degenerated into the cheap melodrama that we read in the dime novels, said the mayor. I am not blaming the owners of the local houses who must run the work of the filmmakers, but it is up to the men engaged in the production of films to awaken to these facts. July 9, 1914. The Evening News, Providence, Rhode Island. Write stories for moving picture plays. New spare time profession for men and women. One man makes $3,500 in 6 months. Owing to the large number of new motion picture theaters which are being opened throughout the country, there is offered to the men and women of today a new profession, namely, that of writing moving picture plays. Producers are paying from $25 to $150 for each scenario accepted, upon which they can build a photoplay. As it only requires a few hours' time to construct a complete play, you can readily see the immense possibilities in this work. One man, who gave the idea a tryout, writes that he earned $3,500 in 6 months. It is possible for an intelligent person to meet with equal success. One feature of the business which should appeal to everyone is that the work may be done at home in spare time. No literary ability is required, and women have as great an opportunity as men. Ideas for plots are constantly turning up, and may be put in scenario form and sold for a good price. Complete particulars of this most interesting and profitable profession may be had free of charge by sending a postcard to Photoplay Association, Box 158, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. November 7, 1924. The Evening Independent, St. Petersburg, Florida. Youth leaps from roof to escape police. May not live. New York, November 7. Having seen movie villains escape the law by making desperate leaps between the roofs of buildings, William Keith, a 17-year-old amateur burglar, tried the same methods Thursday and failed. Climbing to the top of a 5-story tenement house here, with 3 policemen with drawn pistols close at his heels, the lad leaped from the roof and fell to the courtyard below. Police rushed to the courtyard, but Keith was gone. After a search of several minutes, groans from a woodshed attracted them to the boy's hiding place. Although both legs were broken in the fall, he had managed to drag himself to cover. Examined at a hospital, it was found that he had suffered internal injuries which are likely to be fatal. Keith was disappointed trying to rob a rooming house. The owner of the room chased him to the street and shouted for the police. The chase that followed led Keith to the roof of the building.